A few years ago, I was working in the garden of a friend of mine, doing some energy work to balance the space. And whilst we were doing this, I became aware that the garden was somehow separated from the wholeness of the energy field of the earth. And as I looked at this, I realized what it was. This was about human beings taking ownership of a piece of land, claiming it as theirs. I recognized that there was an invitation here to return this piece of land, this small plot of land, a suburban garden, just to return it to that wholeness, to the energy field of the earth. And so I asked my friend if she was willing, and she said yes. And so we intended for that to happen, and just spoke some words about giving this bit of land back. And I watched as that energetic veil of separation that seemed to carve this little plot of land out from wholeness released, and the garden settled itself back into a deeper, more connected relationship with the earth. I was amazed at the simplicity of what I had seen, but also the profound implications of what I had seen, because I understood what we do when we claim ownership of anything. And we claim ownership of a lot. Now this theme has been very present in my awareness lately, and I think it's partly due to the fact that we are undergoing an extreme pull into simplicity, if you like. There's a real push-pull for us to let go of as much as is possible and empty out our field and simplify everything. Now, when we take ownership of something, we wrap it in energy and claim it for ourselves. In effect, we make it a part of our energy field, and so it has weight and density and has an impact. We take responsibility for something, and there's a consequence, an energetic consequence to that. I think this is why in times gone by, well, I guess it's still true, but there has always been a strong message in spiritual traditions about owning nothing or very little, because you can get easily caught up in ownership, and each thing we take ownership of then has weight and density, as I say, in our field. So here's a very simple meditation. It's part one. There'll be another part dealing with another aspect of ownership. But here we're dealing with things, objects, people, animals, this sort of thing. We're going to take a look at ownership and releasing ownership of these things in this part one of giving up ownership. Okay, so let's dive on in. Settling yourself wherever you're seated, allowing awareness to start to drop inwards, and use the breath to pull your awareness in. Feeling it there at the back of the throat. And watching from the inside out the rise and fall, the expansion and contraction of the lungs. breathing to expand the whole of the chest, opening the heart. This happens really easily, very smoothly now, just with a little bit of attention, willingness. Begin to track down the spine, starting in the neck, a place we gather a lot of tension, just using the breath to release and unfold, creating space between the vertebrae. A lot of energy builds up in the spine, a lot of entanglement. Here, just giving permission to let go. And as your focus deepens into the body, just give the whole of the body permission to let go of anything and everything it's ready to let go of. Awareness traveling down the spine and releasing through the shoulders. Starting to sense the expansion of the field of the spine. It's held in a membrane that holds the cerebrospinal fluid, continually bathing the spine and the brain, transmitting vibrations and energetic impressions through this fluid all the time. Dropping down deeper along the spine, recognizing the spinal cord running through the center of the spine, defended, protected, and all of the nerves flowing out of the spine into all parts of the body, all of the organs, all of the limbs. So including the whole of the nervous system in this permission to let go, permission to relax deeply, dropping down through the diaphragm, through the belly, coming to land in the pelvis, surrendering to gravity here, feeling the weight of the body dropping through the sitting bones into whatever is supporting you. Using the breath to create more space here, opening the pelvis. Again, giving permission here for whatever is ready to let go to do just that. And allowing awareness and attention to flow deeper through the sacrum, the triangular shaped bone at the base of the spine, into the coccyx, the tailbone, into the genitals and the pelvic floor, relaxing, letting go, and flowing down through the big muscles, the large bones of the upper leg, into the knees, down into the calves and shins, ankles and feet, feeling the whole of the body. Return awareness to the heart center and just breathe to expand here. Aware of the energy field opening up around you, around the body. And from this point in the center of the chest, inviting all dimensions of your greater self to be a part of this meditation. part of this giving up ownership. Connecting with the beings, we often call them guides, that work with you. Often these guides are aspects of you, part of your greater self. You in other lifetimes, other dimensions. Enlisting their help here, they can really help to work deeply into the energy field. And becoming clear on your intention, just aligning with that intention. The willingness to let go here, the willingness to simplify, to become simple, less complex. The willingness to give up density and weight in your field, in your body. The willingness to give up ownership. And then begin to consider what you have claimed to be yours. And start with the big stuff. Do you own a house or land? Have you claimed this as yours? You might have a mortgage in the bank, actually own more of it than you, but we still claim ownership. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not stating here that that's something we shouldn't do. We all need places to live. But recognizing the land and probably the house, the home, were here before you and will be here after you. Certainly the land was. We don't own it. We become custodians of it. So just become willing that any energetic impact you may have had here in wrapping a home or carving out a piece of land from its deep connection with the earth, just to give that up. Return the land and possibly the home on the land. Return them to the earth. Recognizing others may live in that home and on that land after you. So invite that all sense of ownership, tracking back through time on this land, this home, be released. And here it doesn't matter if you're renting. You have a right to engage in this, to ask for this. And consciously hand the land and the home back to the earth, or back to the universe if that feels better. See if that causes any disturbance in you, any anxiety. Just pay attention to that. Acknowledging whatever arises here. And allowing your field to expand. come into an awareness of other things you own. Maybe there's a vast array of possessions that you have. Maybe you don't own too much at all. Consider your possessions. There may be some things of real physical value, things that cost a lot of money, a car, jewellery, artwork. Are you claiming those as yours? Have you wrapped those in your energy? Are these taking up space in your field? Just consider that. Ask. And if so, are you willing to unwrap them? To draw your energy back and let that object go, let it be less possessed by you? Are you willing to hold it more lightly? What about the vast array of daily stuff? Ornaments, toiletries, all the stuff of your life. Is it pulling on your field? Is it weighing you down? Just consider. It might not be, but it's a useful consideration. How much stuff have you taken ownership of? Is your system wanting simplification? Is your system feeling weighed down in any way by what it is you possess? Ask, make this inquiry. What about objects that have perhaps no physical value but strongly sentimental value? Photographs, souvenirs and mementos, gifts. Memories. What are the attachments here? Are those still true for you, these attachments? Do you feel you have to hold on to something because it was a gift? Perhaps something you wouldn't have chosen for yourself. Just checking in to see if the things you have considered deeply sentimental, important objects, the things you would save in a fire, are they still that important? As we deepen on our collective evolutionary journey, we are being pushed and encouraged to really deeply consider what is actually important. What here might you be willing to let go of, to withdraw your energy from, to not be so invested in? Doesn't necessarily mean you have to let go of the object, though you may feel you want to. But just consider, recognizing all of these things take up a little bit of energetic space in the multidimensionality of your field. And as you make this consideration, your field automatically expands to show you. See what it is you are ready to withdraw investment from. And consider then the people in your life. How heavily invested are you with them? Are you anchored into their field? Are they anchored into yours? Do you feel like you own a piece of somebody? Do you feel you have a right to call upon another's energy or direct their actions, control them? If you have children under the age of 18, then yes, you have some responsibility here. But how deeply engaged are you in the energy fields of others? And how deeply engaged in you are they? Because it's usually a two-way street. Ask to be shown. And you may want to take more time here, stop the recording and spend more time in consideration. But you can bring some of the significant relationships in front of you. Just invite this person to stand in front of you and check out, ask to be shown where you are anchored in their field and where they are anchored in your field. And maybe you're not. But this is where we become dependent and codependent, where we swap energies back and forth. Here's an opportunity to clarify those connections, to maybe withdraw energy where you are anchored deeply in their field, to bring it back to the surface of their field so that you're simply touching them without being deeply embedded, enmeshed. Use the opportunity to explore who is enmeshed with you too. There may be people from your past or from your present that you are losing energy to, giving energy to, or pulling energy from. Either way, it's not appropriate now. And as we become aware of this, then it automatically starts to change. But you can change it in an instant if you wish. We have to become aware first. Take some time now to consider animals. Do you possess an animal? Do you consider yourself an owner of a cat or a dog or a bird, a fish, a pet of some sort? They grace us with their presence, the animals in our lives. But we don't own them. But often we consider we do, and so we wrap them in energy. And this can, to an extent, separate the animal from its vaster spirit. Now check whether you're doing that. And see whether it's appropriate to unwrap the animal. To disengage somewhat. This doesn't mean that you don't love this animal. But it could be useful to allow it to be more energetically free. Check whether that's appropriate. Giving up ownership, control, and handing the animal back to its higher self. You may have a herd of animals, cattle. Do the same with the whole herd, not necessarily with individuals, but with all of the animals that you have taken responsibility for. And what about the animal that is your body? How do you feel about this animal? How is this relationship working out for you? I believe that we co-create our bodies. They are perfect vehicles for us in any given lifetime. But we have worn many bodies, many identities, in this and other dimensions, this and other worlds. Each of them perfect for the time they existed in. Each of them our first and most potent reflection of our relationship with life. A complete symbol, a document, if you like, reflecting back to us, mirroring back to us exactly what it is we believe about life. But the body will return to the earth when we are done with it, when we have finished with this life's experience. And so allow that to happen now. See if you can give up your sense of ownership of the body, if there is that, and return it to the earth. Unwrap it. From any ways in which you have separated it out from the field of the earth, and allow it to draw deeply upon the earth's energy. Recognizing every atom and molecule is a gift from the earth. Often we have warehoused much unprocessed energy in the body. As we return the body more deeply to the earth, then this allows the earth to really help us dissolve and dismantle some of that unprocessed energy. Allow the body to rest deeply in its connection with the earth. Asking for help here from all dimensions, all aspects of your greater self and the team of beings that work with you. And here it's useful to include the nature spirit realm, because they work with physical form, weaving energies into matter. And they can help us in our relationship with our body. As we give up ownership, as we loosen the bonds between us and other objects, we create and allow more space in our field, more vitality, more freedom, more flow. This doesn't mean that we have to do without things, but allow yourself to hold the stuff of life lightly, allowing it to pass through your experience, coming in easily and letting go easily, trusting that life will always bring you exactly what it is you need. Take a moment to give thanks to all of those that worked with you, supported you in this, and will continue to do so. I hope you'll join me for part 2 of this meditation. Thank you.